This is ShaCarol Green, and we're here today to talk about her heart transplant experience. So, ShaCarol, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Mr. Smith?
I'm good. Tell me about your transplant journey.
It all started, like I said, 8 years ago. After I had my daughter in 2012, a few months later, I still wasn't feeling right. I felt like actually it was starting to be wintertime. I felt like I had bronchitis. So went on. They finally, after going back and forth to the doctor, they realized I had congestive heart failure. 2015, after my father passed, I guess my grief was, the way I handled my grief was to throw myself into work. And little did I know I was not helping myself. So I was making my heart weaker and weaker. And I was in and out of the hospital from 2015 through 2016. And April of 2017, I started having these fainting spells. Well, kind of find out my blood pressure was bottoming out because medications, they were not working. Nothing was working. So after a few of those spells, finally my doctor here said, Miss Green, there's nothing else we can do for you. So we need to send you back to Birmingham. So on August the 9th, I went to see Dr. Pambukian, and she said, okay, they did a right heart cath, they did blood work. They called me back I only had been back home about an hour. Mind you, I'm in Montgomery, that's in Birmingham. And she called and said, well, we need you to come back. And I'm like, today? And they were like, yes. I'm like, and I talked them into letting me go back the next day, which was August the 10th, because my daughter was starting kindergarten that day on August the 10th. So I said, if y'all just let us drop her off that morning at school, we'll head straight up there. So they finally agreed. And I guess I didn't realize how bad it was, honestly. And so we went up there and they did some blood. They told me, hey, things just aren't looking right. We need you to stay here. We're going to go ahead and work you up. We'll be here about a week to try to get you on the planned transplant list. August the 19th, they came to me and said, well, we're going to have to do this LVAD. God knows I did not want the LVAD. But the choice they gave me was, hey, if you don't get it, I don't see you living past Christmas. This is August, Christmas in December. So to me, I don't have a choice. It's live or die, and I don't have a choice. I have to live. I have a 5-year-old at home and my husband. And so 21st of August, I get the LVAD. 8 days later, find out I have a blood clot in my heart. So they come and say, well, we have to get this blood clot out. So they start preparing me for surgery the next morning to get the blood clot. 8 o'clock that night, they say, hey, we're go for the transplant. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm in denial the whole time. My husband and my mom, they come back to Montgomery. Then I call them and tell them, hey, I'm going to transplant tomorrow. I'm getting my transplant tomorrow. They're in disbelief. They're excited. Because last they left, they had come home to pack up to come back to get the clot out. August the 30th, 2017, I got a heart transplant. And I've been, thanked by the grace of God, no rejections, and it's almost 3 years.
Well, I know that they told you and you were in a bit of denial. But when you first realized that it was really going to happen the next day, tell us about that moment.
I was in disbelief. I don't think I actually thought it was real till after the fact. I think I was in denial because there were people in that hospital that I've talked to on the same floor that had been waiting for years for a heart transplant. And for me to get one in a few hours was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. That if I had never believed in a miracle, that was a miracle to me that day.
If you could say one thing to the donor or the family of the donor, what would it be?
Thank you. I don't know how many times I can say thank you, and that I hope one day that we meet. I would love to be a part of your family because I hold a part of your family with me every day. And because of your gracious gift and the decision that you made, you allowed me a second chance at life.
What has your transplant meant to your family and friends?
It meant the world. My daughter now has a mother that can actually do things with her, go shopping, get the manis and petties. For my husband, it's like we started all over again. We've been married 10 years now. At that time, it was 70 years. And he now has the wife again, because for 2 years, I could not do anything. So to be able to be the mother and the wife that we had planned, it just means the world to them and to me.
What would you say to someone thinking about registering to be an organ, eye, or tissue donor?
If you're having any thoughts or second thoughts about donating, please do so. There's so many lives that you can change or you can save. It's not just the person that you're saving, it's their extended family, their friends. It gives them an extra boost. Like I said, if it wasn't for my donor, my family would have also had to plan my funeral. And now we get to rejoice and celebrate. And we don't take that lightly. My donor is my hero. Besides God, she gave me a second chance at life.